What's going on, Dat Nation? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing an ESPN article that I saw that I believe laid out the New Orleans Saints draft plan. And I think that we all are going to agree with it. In my opinion, I think it's a good plan, and it's a very obvious plan. So let's just kick it right over to Katherine Terrell so she can tell us what that is. The Saints are in desperate need of an offensive tackle. Left guard Andrus Peat, who was able to play the left tackle position, was not re-signed this offseason yet. Longtime right tackle Ryan Ramczyk has serious knee problems that could affect his career outlook. In 2022, first-round pick Trevor Penning, who was drafted to play left tackle, has yet to prove he's a starter going into year 3. The Saints, need to find their tackle of the future on either side. Now, with Trevor Penning, obviously year 1 really didn't see him all that much. So last year really was his first season, if you will. So technically year 2, but year 3 after being drafted. Point being, the New Orleans Saints are going to be drafting an offensive lineman in round 1. That's going to happen. If you disagree with it, I don't know what to tell you. If you hate the pick, I'm just going to go ahead and say you need to look at the depth chart or go back and watch the tape because the Saints have needs in the trenches. They don't have needs at wide receiver. They don't have a need at quarterback. They don't have a need at defensive end. They don't have a need at linebacker. That's desperate. The biggest need is offensive line, and that's why one of these 5 guys, I believe, is going to be the New Orleans Saints selection at number 14 overall. Olu Fashanu is my favorite prospect in this year's draft class. I love Joe Alt, but to be honest, it feels like Olu Fashanu is the more realistic pick. I think Joe Alt's a top 10 guy. But I think that Fashanu, Fuaga, any of these guys could fill in for Trevor Penning and Ryan Ramczyk. I'm not a huge fan of what James Hurst was able to do last year. Cesar Ruiz, to me, is very hot and cold, but the offensive line is the absolute weakest point on this roster. So with all that in mind, what position would you draft in round 1? Clearly, I'm drafting a kicker in round 1. In all seriousness, go get an offensive tackle. But if you think that there's other needs that are more important, or you're so dead set on best player available strategy, I understand it. But sound off and let me know what position you would draft in round 1. Just to be honest, guys, don't overthink this. I'm trying to make this a message to the Saints front office. Don't try and get cute. Don't try and get creative. Don't try and make something happen. Draft a freaking offensive tackle. That is the weakest position across the entire depth chart. Because if you can't move the ball, you can't move the ball with no protection. That's what I was trying to say. If you don't draft an offensive lineman, the O-line right now is terrible. It is not a good-looking line. And the best part about it, Eric McCoy, he's great. Ryan Ramczyk might not even be able to play this year or may play early in the season. You cannot move the ball if there is no protection. You have to take care of business first. Use the other picks for fun. The old adage, the old saying, Wiz Khalifa said it best, work hard, play hard. So go and get the things you need to get first, which is offensive linemen. And then have some fun in the 2nd, 5th, 6th round picks. Trade up into the 3rd or 4th. I don't care. But make the 1st round selection an offensive lineman. Look at all of the excellent options that are available or that should be available in day 2 or later. Adonai Mitchell, he is an incredibly talented wide receiver. Xavier Legette could be available in round 2. Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, Jonathan Franklin, Malachi Corley, who's met with the New Orleans Saints, Luke McCaffrey, Brendan Rice, the son of the GOAT, Joshua Cephas, who's met with the Saints as well, and Jatavion Sanders also met with the Saints. The number 2 tight end in this draft class could be a nice pick in round 2. I think any of these 10 guys on your screen would make some sense. But this is why I want you guys to subscribe. We're also going to have the best live draft coverage across the internet. It's only going to be Saints geared. It's only going to be about the black and gold. And we're going to have a ton of fun all throughout round 1 of the NFL draft. So turn on your notifications, hit the subscribe, button so that way you can join us and you don't miss out on our lots of fun that we're going to have. Got some giveaways that we're going to be doing. Don't want to spoil the surprise. Also got to give a big-time shout-out to Prize Picks. I absolutely love this daily fantasy sports app. And today's show was made possible by the #1 DFS app in North America. That is Prize Picks, ladies and gentlemen. They've got specials for new and returning users for NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. They had stuff for the Masters this past weekend. They got League of Legends. They got NASCAR. They have NFL seasons projections. Prize Picks is amazing. And with the football season just around the corner, you can go ahead and place down some projections for the entire season. I'm rolling with the less on Kirk Cousins. Cannot put any sort of good juju out in the world that the Falcons will be at all competent on offense. Christian McCaffrey feels like he's going to find the end zone. Let's go 5 receiving touchdowns, the more on that. In CJ Stroud, I absolutely love what he's been able to do. Shout out to our guy, Jeremy Chuggs. CJ Stroud, yeah. He is an absolutely incredible talent, and they also brought in Stephon Diggs. That's why I'm rolling with the more on his passing touchdowns. I don't care what you do with my picks. You can fade them. You can tail them. Do whatever you want. But make sure you do it with Prize Picks. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Plug in that promo code CLNS, and you'll get a first-time deposit match up to $100. Download the Prize Picks app. Plug in our promo code CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Now, I just think that the New Orleans Saints, in terms of the offensive line, it makes so much sense. Like I said earlier, don't overthink this. And I'm not the only one who's saying this. Katherine Terrell's not the only one who's saying this. Ross Jackson, Nick Underhill. You have guys in Big J Media. Jordan Reid is saying that the New Orleans Saints should address the offensive tackle early. Is that obvious enough for you? Is it clear as day that offensive tackle needs to be the pick? There you go. Continuing with Jordan Reid. And Olu Fashanu, Taliese Fuaga are two names that have been consistently and constantly linked to the Saints through all the mock drafts and draft rumor process. I've also heard Patrick Paul, Kuron Amagaji, and Blake Fisher as day 2 or day 3 offensive tackle prospects could fit. Now, Fashanu is my #1 option for the Saints. I would love him to be in the black and gold. The size and speed and athleticism combination is really impressive. He's a smart player, came back to Penn State to get his degree and earn his degree, and on top of that, shake out and become a better prospect, shake out all the, problems, if you will. And the production was really good. You see it on your screen. The 4 penalties, I feel like that can get coached out, but, hopefully the Saints offensive line coach and Clint Kubiak can limit the penalties because that was a big problem last year for New Orleans. But here's the thing. I know that there's a lot of buzz out there. Brock Bowers, go get Brock Bowers. Go get Brian Thomas Jr. Go get one of these top-tier players. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to slow the roll. I would love an offensive lineman. However, if Brock Bowers does fall to 14, I'd be interested as well. I'm not so sure he gets past the New York Jets selection, but I could see the Saints being interested in that player at 14 if he's available. You can go and get good offensive line prospects in pretty much any round of the draft. Jordan Morgan, for example, out of Arizona, 6'5", 311 pounds. He is a great left tackle, played the left tackle position for the Wildcats. All of his snaps were at the left tackle spot. So I think that could be an interesting option. It feels like he could be more of an early day 2 selection, late day 1. So if all of the players that the Saints like in terms of offensive linemen are gone and Brock Bowers is somehow gone and the draft board shakes out weird, there's a ton of options. Kingsley Suamadia, that would be a really fun pick. Also, fun fact, he's cousins with Nephi Sewell. You have Penei Sewell on the roster, so, get the little family together. Blake Fisher, he played really, really well. Kind of got lost in the shadow of Joe Alt. Tyler Guyton, this dude is a freak of nature. I'm making sure I have this written down right. 6'7", 322 pounds. It's a little bit more of a project. Maybe not a project's the right word, but this kind of player, He's definitely an attributes kind of guy, but has the potential to turn into a great player. And Roger Rosengarten, he was a really solid option for the Huskies as well. I mean, you can go and get most of these guys in day 2. And then on top of that, in day 3, there's options as well. But I want to ask you this question. If Bowers falls, would you draft him with the 14th overall selection? Just give me a simple draft or a simple pass down in the comments. I can't wait to see what you guys got to say, and I'm going to be interacting with y'all in the comment section. Now, an NFC area scout was asked, hey, kind of the chatter around the Bayou. What's going on with the black and gold? What are the Saints doing? It's exactly what we've been telling you this entire offseason. And if you haven't been able to tell, it's been really quiet. There just hasn't been a lot of noise. There hasn't been chatter of the Saints might be interested in trading up. The Saints might be interested in trading back. There's been none of that. There's been a handful of interesting top 30 meetings, but it's been very, very quiet. They have been at the back end of all of the draft buzz and stuff, so it makes making this content a little bit tougher, but that's why we get creative with it. And I'm going to just end on a little bit of a rant here. I'm so tired of the offseason negativity coming from Saints fans. Like, I understand that New Orleans isn't in the sexiest position across all 32 teams. But there are so many other teams out there that are in way worse positions, and we're acting like we are in hell right now. To be honest, no. You can go and win the division right now. You can go and add pieces to your roster that can make an impact, like a Chase Young, like a Willie Gay. I know that they didn't have a ton of money to spend, but that's why the draft is so exciting. The draft should be exciting because this is the one spot across the entire NFL that every single team is going to be able to make some selections and make some picks to add to their roster and fill positions of need. Like, this is the chance for every single team to make their team that much better. And it gives fans something new to talk about. It gives us something to be excited about. This should be exciting. And I was scrolling through Twitter, and I'm seeing all these people in the comments being like, no, I'm not excited. No, I want nothing to do with it. I don't care. You can't draft a head coach, so I don't care. I know Dennis Allen is a frustrating head coach. Trust me, I am so over the top with him. Over the top done with him. That being said, this is the best place for the Saints to get better. And Dennis Allen is a good defensive coach. The offense needs to be more explosive. The offense needs to be better so that way the defense doesn't have to play for their lives at the end of games. This team is going to be improved after the draft. Every team is going to be at least slightly improved after the draft. We all get new things to talk about. We all get new players to buy jerseys for. We all get new highlights to go and look. Players to go do research on and that are 6th, 7th round picks or UDFAs. Like, the draft is full of fun. And I'm so tired of the negativity. I'm so tired of Saints fans being like, oh, I don't really care. I don't give a shit. We have a terrible head coach. Mickey Loomis is an idiot. Every GM makes bad draft selections. Every head coach, for the most part, has some sort of stumble. Dennis Allen has stumbled a lot, but let's be real. If we can have a better offense, I think that everyone would be a lot happier with the situation across the board in the New Orleans Saints organization. So if you're excited for the NFL draft, I need you to share your thoughts. Just like the video if you are. If not, tell me why. And I don't want to hear, I hate Dennis Allen. I don't want to hear Mickey Loomis thinks of drafting. Do you not remember how good some of the draft classes Mickey Loomis has had? Every GM misses on draft picks. That's my point here. I'm pumped up for the draft, and I think you should be as well because it's the offseason. Let's have some fun, and let's go into this next year or this next football season with some positivity and some good juju. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, Dat Nation, y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.